Welcome to part 4 of Understanding the Canary System. Today we're going to focus on the final goal of using Canary, and that's to maximize the actual value of your process data. Hey, as a reminder, I wanted to make sure that you knew that there's a help center that you can easily find on our website. If you navigate to canarylabs.com and click on Help Center, it's going to take you directly into the Canary community. And so from the Canary community, you can visit our forum. The forum is where you can post questions and interact with Canary team members. Also from the community, you have full access to our knowledge base to provide feedback. If you find a bug in the system, you can report bugs there. It's also where you can interact with our upcoming release notes. You can look at any events that we are going to be hosting. Let's look at our in-person right now. You can see we'll be at ARC Forum here in June, CSIA conference in Denver at the end of June. We're sponsoring the IPS Connect 2022 in Cordova, Alaska, before doing a roadshow in Fairbanks and Anchorage. So this is a great way to understand how you can interact with the Canary team if you want to join us on the road, as well as in upcoming virtual workshops. All right, let's move back over to step 3. Step 3, where we've left off, just to remind everybody, is we have finished up the data collection. That's data collectors through historian. We've talked about context, how Views offers asset models, and we're going to actually see a little bit of that today, as well as our calcs and events. So today we're going to focus on Axiom, and then finally our data feeds, how to get data out to other people and other third-party applications and systems. Okay, so as we look at Axiom, let's discuss what Axiom is. Axiom is our dashboarding, visualization, and trending tool. It's built in HTML5. I can run it in browser or as an installed thin client. And all of the work that I do in Axiom is centrally managed. It's server-based, so I'm not having to run around and track down trend charts or dashboards that are saved local as a thick client. So Axiom also gives me the ability to create some custom solutions. So we support C# scripting. It is really a tool that's been optimized for condition-based asset monitoring and also an automated reporting tool. Let's take some quick snapshot examples of what Axiom might look like. I should mention that Axiom is complete build yourself. Build your own, out of the box, blank slate. So there's no templating involved with Axiom as far as this is the way that we think your operation should run. We don't have that knowledge, and no two operations are the same. So here's an example of where someone has chosen on this chart to show 6 different trends. You can see how there's 3 different main bands, an orange, a blue, and a yellow band. And each of those bands has a Boolean that's being shown overlaid with it. Another example of some data that's been overlaid. Again, more trends. So from just a trending perspective, you can build these trend charts to be very complex or very simple. You can create high or low limits. You can shade in different state areas. And you might notice the little messaging symbols or icons. Yes, you also have the ability to annotate in Axiom. That gives you the capability to write messages and anchor them to a specific tag's time stamp value quality score, or TVQ, I should say, and link it back into the archive. And so anytime someone interacts with that data on a trend chart, they'll see that annotation, and they can also add to that annotation. Well, I said Axiom is also a dashboarding tool. Here's an example where beyond just trends, we've actually started creating tables of data, some larger KPIs, as well as using asset models to create hyperlinks. And so it might be a little difficult on your screen resolution to see, but all of our sites, if we look right here down the middle in site alarms, I can see that those sites are hyperlinked. And so if I was in this application and I clicked on one of those sites, it would open up a site page and it would swap whatever asset I've clicked on into that site page. So we template these applications based on the assets that you want to visualize. So I design one page for an asset type, and it becomes the visualization standard for any of those asset types that I want to call up onto screen. And here's an example of that. So by clicking on Finch Site 3 on the previous screen, it would take me to this overlay of that site. So it automatically shows me my 2 pumps. It shows me the tank that's present. And if there was more than one tank, I would have more tanks listed here. So each of my asset instances have their own card or panel. And based on the number of assets that are present, that would be the number of panels that I would receive. Notice in this visualization, we have linear gauges, trend charts, spark charts, symbol graphics, linear gauges embedded on top of those symbol graphics, data tables, buttons for navigation. It's all built into this tool. The editor is built into the application as well. Here in the top is my edit feature. And so I could go from looking at the data to formatting this page in real time without having to leave the system. Here's an example of a higher symbol graphic use case. So maybe a little more familiar to your standard HMIs type of design, where it's showing a piece of equipment, it's showing the different value points inside of that equipment, giving me some KPIs, giving me some state visualization, as well as some additional data tables. So Axiom really becomes anything you want to build to visualize your process. It's open because we're using, again, standard technology like browser-based HTML5. And we used open scripting language like C# so that you can create additional custom functionality that maybe we didn't think about in the creation of the product. It's secure because, again, we're using TLS. We require login, username, password, completely encrypted when the data is being moved. And finally, adaptable. I can use it on any type of device that supports HTML5, modern web browser, and highly adaptable from the fact that I can visualize data using the asset models, an asset template, which simply means that I don't have to design for everything. I design for an asset type, and then its instances are all able to use that one visualization. Now, I had mentioned in the very first video that if you wanted to try Axiom yourself, you could do that in our sandbox environment. I thought it might be helpful for me to show that to you. So let's come back to our Canary Labs website. And we'll go to Try Canary. The free Axiom demo. If I just give it some credentials, it's going to reach up to our AWS environment. It's going to provide me a generic username and password. I can now log in. And the very first thing that I see is a bit of a menu or table of contents. So we have built some application examples that you can play with. Some that are just showing diagnostic tags inside of Canary. Some that are meant to be more parent-child asset-based, as well as our design gallery, which just gives you a sense of some of the things you might decide to build using the symbol graphics or using some of the gauges and different controls that we give you. Here you have a link to the Canary Academy, which is where I can receive free training on Axiom, as well as the ability to just start from scratch and build from scratch. So I thought maybe I'd spend 5 minutes and just build a very basic application here from scratch. So what I have in front is a blank application. I can see that I'm logged in as Axiom demo user. I can go full screen with this as well. Over here is my hamburger menu where I can open an existing application or chart, create a new one. I can come in and build a report that's automated. I can get the tutorials, all of this from my hamburger menu. This is my edit menu. So when I toggle this on, I now have the capability of bringing over any of the controls into my design space here. And as I bring something over, let's just start with a trend chart. You'll see that now the properties for that trend graph that's been selected are being shown. So it's drag and drop, it's click and move. I now have pretty much a full page trend chart. Let's go ahead and just make it full page. We'll bring it up to the top right, or top left and bottom right. All right, so if I go ahead and just collapse the editor, there's my trend chart. I can go ahead and add a trend. This is the name of my historian. So this is the historian archive. Currently, every tag available to me is here in this list on the right. Notice that first level, historian archive name, dot, dataset, canary oil, dot, tag name. If I expand Canary Historian, it will drop that first piece of structure off of the tag name. If I click into Canary Oil, it'll drop the Canary Oil off, and there's the rest of those tags. Now, I'm going to use diagnostic tags for this example. So I could just search for my diagnostic tags. It will filter the results and show me only the tags that are part of the diagnostic system. I also am going to want only those that are in the system folder. And we'll look for something that is CPU based. So I've got 2 tags now on my trend chart. There's lots of things that I can do with these tags. If I want to link them to each other and see them over top, I click on the scale. I choose, do I want to link the bands and the scales, or do I just want to link them on the same band and keep the scales independent? And I then link them together. And now I've got the data living on one trend. Let's go ahead and go back into editor. And for this case, I don't need it to be full page. So we'll put it there like that. Let's bring a donut gauge in. Notice that my filter has stayed the same. There's my CPU usage total. We'll bring in a label for it. I'll just start typing over top the label. Let's take both of these and we will do a copy. There's 1 and 2. We'll change the linking of this over to Let's go with the usage of the historian. And there we go. Very simple, very just rudimentary, but that's all that's involved in learning how to use the tool. I can save it. Now, I can't because I'm in a demo mode here, but this is how I would if I was an admin or a user on a licensed system that wasn't in our virtual sandbox environment. So things that you can explore if you don't want to try to build your own from the beginning, you can come in and open an application. You might consider opening up our welcome page again, or I can come in and look at things like the design ideas. We won't make any of those changes. We can't save them as part of our demo, but here inside the design ideas, all of this data will load, and I'm able to come in and see all of the different types of visualizations I could create. All right. Play with it yourself, please. Explore it, use it. We'd love to also, as you kind of go through that a bit and realize that you might want to build something on your own and try it with your own data, we're happy to provide that to you in a proof of concept. The easiest way to ask for that is just to email us, info@canarylabs.com, and just make a request in the subject line, proof of concept. All right, let's talk about data feeds. So remember, we're trying to provide valuable information to our people and our systems. Axiom's a great way to do that to people, but data feeds are how we get it to other systems that are not Canary related, as well as to people that use those systems, or perhaps people that just want to make direct queries against the database. So if we talk about the systems that we support other reporting tools. Things like Spotfire are very common. Business intelligence tools like Power BI, deeper analytics like Seek, analytics hubs or information platforms like Flow Software. We send data out to other SCADA systems. So just like we are able to historize data from TatSoft or from Ignition, we can also provide history right back into their interfaces. So if I'm in Ignition and I want to use Ignition's power chart, but I want Canary to be the underlying historian, that works. If I'm in TatSoft and I want to power a Spark line with Canary history, that works as well. So let's talk about how we would query or push data to other clients in real time or update on change. We support both MQTT Spark Plug as a publishing client. Beyond us acting as a subscribing client on the logging side, we're also a publishing client. You can also create a JSON over WebSocket stream of data as it updates, as well as you can ask for update on change by making .NET and Web API queries. For historical data, you can use the Canary Excel add-in. That'll connect your Microsoft Excel worksheet directly to Canary so that I can make raw data request, aggregated data request. I can consume the views. I can consume the events that are in Canary. All of that can be done inside of Excel. I can also make historic requests using the .NET or Web APIs, using the SCADA connectors we provide. Of course, Axiom we've talked about, as well as ODBC connector. So if I want to make SQL-like queries against the Canary proprietary database, not a problem. I use ODBC to do so. We're really big on MQTT at Canary. In fact, we're part of the Sparkplug working group, part of the founding members of the working group. We're actively involved on the steering committee. We enjoy working with that team to see that specification continue to develop and mature. We have a ton of really large users that take advantage of MQTT Sparkplug. So we're, as I mentioned, both subscribing and publishing clients. Our publishing client supports live on change and durable streams. We, as a system, include a Mosquito broker as part of our install. So if you install Canary, you'll see on the installation wizard a tab at the top that says third-party applications. Click on that tab and your MQTT broker, Mosquito broker, is available right there. How are we open? How are we secure? How are we adaptable? We're open because we're using standard protocols to provide for the flow of data without requiring licensing. So you do not need to license anything to have access to our web APIs. You don't have to license anything to have access to the MQTT or JSON publisher. It's all included as part of our system staying open. Every time we move data, I think you're starting to learn, we're using TLS and it's encrypted. And finally, we're adaptable because we do all of this without requiring you to buy those licenses. You don't have to buy an SDK. You don't have to do anything special to be able to do this. So when you get data into Canary, you can get data out of Canary in any way that you see fit for your organization. All right. Well, listen, that is going to wrap up our walkthrough of the parts of the Canary system. That means you can join me on one more video where we're going to talk about the business model, understanding licensing, understanding how you would build out a system and the costing that would be involved in that. And I'm looking forward to highlighting that with you. We've done a lot of work to make sure that this entire solution is affordable and easy to use. Look forward to that next video.